I can make this whole awakening process seem unnecessarily complicated. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Angelo, there's no way you can do that because you talk about it in such a simple way. But yeah, I get it. I understand that I do approach it from different angles. I talk about things in nuance and, try to offer different avenues of investigation. And so things can sound very complicated. It can get confusing and so forth. I understand that. But a couple of things I want to say about it. One is, no matter how complicated it seems like I'm being about things, or anyone you're listening to that seems to be transmitting, always keep in the back of your mind that it's actually very, very simple what's being pointed to. It's always very, very simple. Even if it seems to be twisting up the mind, or it's confusing, or it seems complicated, or it seems like there's a lot of sort of steps or nuance or whatever to this whole deal. What I'm always pointing to is something that's incredibly simple. So hopefully that helps to kind of offload a little bit of that stress on the mind that sometimes wants to keep up with all of this in a conceptual way. But what I really wanted to get at with this video is to do a bit of an exploration of something. And that is, I can boil this all down in a very, very simple way. And I mean all of it. What I mean is reality, natural reality, unfiltered reality is so exquisitely simple that I can't even define it as simple. It doesn't make sense. It's so immediately available that it's absurd to even talk about finding it. So all of that is so true. It is just what it is. It's unfiltered. It's unsullied. It's imperturbable. It's clear always, even if the mind doesn't seem clear. Reality's clear. So it's always just the case. So then what gets in the way? What disrupts our knowingly experiencing that moment to moment? There's only one thing, really. Ultimately, there's one thing, and it's resistance. So what is resistance? Well, I don't want to define it conceptually. I don't want to turn this into an intellectual conversation. And I don't even want to get into all the mechanisms and so forth, even though that can be helpful. I really just want to bring this down to a very simple investigation of your experience right now. Yeah. When I say that reality is unfiltered, and in a sense it's unfilterable, that it's simple, it stands clear all the time. When I say that, I just want to point out that to keep things as simple as possible, you have 5 sense gates, and every single one will demonstrate that. The visual sense gate, the auditory sense gate, the sensations, the body, what we call the body sensations, olfactory or smell, taste. All of these sense gates are direct, immediate, unfiltered, unsullied access to unfiltered reality, to reality itself, unconditioned, the unconditioned, yeah? So just know that. You're already experiencing it in a sense, to even say you're experiencing it, that's adding something that the mind is adding, but it's already there. It's just there. It's just here. It's right now. It's simple. It's direct. No big deal. Yeah. So we're going to work in one of those sense gates, and specifically we're going to work in the physical sense gate. So the sensations, the body sensations. And what I want you to do is just to kind of scan the body and just take a feel of what's going on, how things feel, how your body's sort of experiencing itself right now. Sensations. Is there density? Is there heaviness? Is there tingles? Is there any kind of warm places, cool places in the body? Anything. Just kind of pick up what's happening. Just kind of sense, scan, let's say introspect, just feel, yeah? So just take a minute to do that. Yeah, and find anything that's lighting up for you, anything that feels, let's say, interesting, or anything that sticks out or feels compelling, or anything that feels uncomfortable, contracted, stuck, heavy, anything. Doesn't matter where it is. Doesn't matter if it's vague or distinct or well-defined or ill-defined. Could be in the head, could be in the gut, could be in the chest, Could be in the hands, anywhere. Just notice what's sticking out the most for you. What's the most compelling, or again, something uncomfortable. And just sense it. Recognize that what you are sensing right now, what you're sensing is pure, clear, unfiltered, formless. There's no suffering there. It's just what it is. That is the case. That is true. I promise you it's true, even if it's not clear in this moment. So from that extremely simple standpoint, from that extremely simple approach, just notice what else is here. What else is happening? What is added to make that sensation feel heavy? If you can sense it. What's being added, if anything? Another way of approaching this is, what are my beliefs about this? Are there beliefs that say this is uncomfortable? Are there beliefs that say, here it is again, this has been here for years? Are there beliefs that say, something just feels stuck here? Or this feels heavy or contracted? Notice if those beliefs are there. Just notice. And then, again, sort of remind yourself that what's here is unfiltered. What's here has no form. What's here has no particular direction, meaning, purpose. It just is. Simple. It's uncontracted. It's neither expanded nor contracted. It's just what it is. Remind yourself, and then from that standpoint, which I promise it's in your experience, just ask yourself, well, what else now? What else is added? What else is here? What wants to be felt? You may notice an emotion. You may notice something coming up like fear, anxiety, shame, guilt, resentment, helplessness. Or it may be something like confusion. It may be something like impatience. These might be the answer to the question, what wants to be felt here? Yeah? Because again, the natural experience is there. So if something's distracting your attention, something's trying to call for your attention, it could be an unmet need, could be an emotion that's been overlooked, repressed, stuffed. So it's coming up for you. This is great. It comes up to say, hey, I need to be felt. Yeah? Any of these. And then the question I want you to ask in the end is there any resistance to any of this? And you don't even really need to conclude with a yes or no. I just want you to explore. Is there any resistance to any of this? Is there resistance to an emotion, if you've identified an emotion? Is there resistance to the sense of contracting or the sense of being stuck or heavy or dull? Or having a center? Is there resistance to that? Is there resistance to any belief that arose when you asked the question, are there beliefs like this is too much or I can't handle it? Again, the belief, the thought may seem like enough to make you feel concerned or uncomfortable, but you may notice that's actually a thought, right? So there may be resistance to the thought itself. So just see, is there resistance to those thoughts, those beliefs that are also arising in this moment? And then finally, is there resistance to the mere fact that this experience has no particular definition? It's not giving me anything in particular. It's not saying anything. It's not telling me something. So in a sense, that's a kind of a resistance to the unbound itself, which I don't think you can actually have resistance to that, but you can have resistance to the mind wanting to grab onto something and it can't find anything to grab onto. So just see, is there resistance to this? To the clarity itself? Is there resistance to the intimacy itself? Might surprise you. Is there resistance to the peace? Is there resistance to the freedom? Yeah. And if you find resistance anywhere, it's okay. There's nothing to do. This is all about exploration, feeling in, a little bit of inquiry, exploration with curiosity. That's all this is. Very simple. Make friends with resistance, really, because again, if there's anything that's kind of filtering your direct recognition moment to moment of the unbound, of the unconditioned, of freedom itself, of peace itself, it's resistance that is unnoticed. Once you notice resistance, even resistance becomes less resistant because there's nothing to resist really, and there's nothing to do the resisting. It's just if it's a little bit unconscious, then resistance is kind of pushing against itself or pushing against a thought or pushing against an emotion. The more you see this, the clearer this it becomes. It just kind of unwinds itself. And that's all this is about. It's just about clear seeing and unwinding until the unborn just comes forward naturally all the time. And then this is automatic in a sense. Like you'll still do this in some way. There'll still be this instinct to root out anything that's holding anywhere, anything that's fixating anywhere. But it starts to happen very spontaneously and naturally and becomes rather enjoyable. So let me know how that went for you.